Did you know that there was a period of the Roman Empire when it broke into 3 separate states? Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video is all about the rise, prosperity, and eventual fall of one of the most influential empires of the ancient world. Today we are looking at the beginning, the growth, and the eventual collapse of the Roman Empire. Don't forget the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and hitting that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss out on any new uploads. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation and you can find us on Patreon, a brilliant site where you can support our work and receive exclusive benefits in return. Your support helps us create videos twice a week, so make sure to check it out via the pop-up in the top corner of the screen or via the Patreon link down below. The Roman Empire was founded by Augustus Caesar in 27 BCE on the foundation of the earlier Roman Republic. Although many people believe that Julius Caesar was the first emperor of Rome, this is incorrect. Julius Caesar was a dictator, a political position temporarily granted a military commander when the need arose, during the time of the Roman Republic. His nephew, Augustus, became the first emperor of Rome after defeating Caesar's assassins, and then his former ally Mark Antony and Antony's lover Cleopatra VII at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. In gratitude for his defense of Rome, the Senate made Augustus emperor, a title that would be held by Roman rulers from 27 BCE until the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 CE and the Eastern Empire in 1453 CE. The generals of the Roman Republic, including Pompey the Great and Julius Caesar, had already conquered vast territories throughout the Mediterranean and Near East, which Augustus consolidated into his new empire. He reformed the laws of the city of Rome and had them applied throughout his territories. He built roads, temples, public buildings, parks, water distribution and sewage systems, reformed the military and religious practices, and established the Pax Romana, the Roman peace, a period of relative peace when compared with what had come before, and economic prosperity lasting over 200 years, from 27 BCE to 180 CE. Augustus established the so-called Julio-Claudian dynasty of the first 5 emperors of Rome, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, and Nero, who reigned from 27 BCE to 80 CE. The dynasty's name comes from the family of Julius Caesar, the Julii Caesares and Claudii Nerones, who had adopted Augustus as his heir. Augustus's successors were each adopted by the sitting emperor and became their sons and heirs, beginning with Tiberius's adoption by Augustus. Tiberius was an uneven ruler who left Rome for Capri and had little interest in the daily chores of governing. He is said to have been assassinated by his heir, Caligula, whose reign has become infamous. Although Caligula has a bad reputation today for his cruelty and supposedly wanting to make his horse a consul, he was an effective emperor in his first years, before indulging in increasingly erratic behaviour. After he was assassinated, he was succeeded by Claudius, who was also assassinated later and succeeded by Nero. Yes, that Nero, who may or may not have played the fiddle while Rome was burning. A colourful bunch, the Julio-Claudians, weren't they? Nero's suicide ended the Julio-Claudian dynasty without an heir, plunging the empire into the chaos of the Year of the 4 Emperors. The Julio-Claudian dynasty had its problems, but succession was managed by each emperor choosing his successor. After Nero, 4 men claimed succession: Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian, although Nero had named none of them. Galba, an elderly general and governor, was supported by his army but could not establish himself as emperor and was assassinated by Otho, who was far more popular, but when threatened by the success and popularity of Vitellius, he killed himself. Vitellius didn't last long either before he was murdered by a mob, which led to the rise of Titus Flavius Vespasianus, known as Vespasian, and the establishment of the Flavian dynasty. The Flavian dynasty refers to the reigns of Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian, who ruled from 69 to 96. As with the Julio-Claudian dynasty, the name comes from the founder's family. The Flavian dynasty instituted economic reforms and building projects, among other initiatives, that made Rome prosper. The Colosseum of Rome, also known as the Flavian Amphitheatre, was built under their reign, as well as several famous monuments. They also responded to the natural disaster of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79, and held their own against the Dacian forces, strengthening Rome's borders. Titus commanded the Roman forces during the Jewish rebellion of 66, considered by some scholars a black spot on the dynasty's reputation for the brutality of suppression. Domitian was assassinated in 96 and was succeeded by Nerva, the first of the 5 good emperors of Rome. The 5 good emperors, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and Marcus Aurelius, comprise the first of the 7 of the Nerva-Antonine dynasty that ruled from 96 to 192, the first 5 only until 180. The other 2, Lucius Verus, who co-ruled with Aurelius, and Commodus, Aurelius's son, were ineffective rulers. The first 5 are regarded highly because of the stability of their reigns, care for the people, and extensive building and military campaigns that improved the infrastructure and enriched the empire, and this stability was due, in part, to the observance of a seamless succession between each. No building project of Hadrian's is as famous as his wall, known in antiquity as Valum Hadriani, but famously known today as Hadrian's Wall in England. While Marcus Aurelius, best known today for his philosophical Stoic work Meditations, defended the empire against invasion while reforming social programs throughout. When Commodus was assassinated in 192, Rome was again destabilized by the year of the 5 emperors, which, you guessed it, like the year of the 4 emperors, was marked by the rapid succession of rulers, ending with the rise of Septimus Severus in 193. The Severan dynasty emphasized the importance of a strong military and, to pay the soldiers, debased the currency, mixing precious with base metals to make more coins. Although this seemed a good solution short-term, it would cause long-term inflation. The Severan dynasty led military campaigns across the reaches of the empire, expanding its borders, defeating the Parthians, and extending Rome's reach across Britain. It ended with the assassination of Alexander Severus in 235, which led to the crisis of the 3rd century, also known as the Imperial Crisis, which was pretty much just like the year of the 4 and then the year of the 5 emperors, only it lasted much, much longer, from 235 to 284, and saw over 20 emperors come and go during that time period of almost 50 years. During the crisis of the 3rd century, emperors sometimes lasted a year, sometimes less, and were characterized by so-called barracks emperors, who won power through the backing of the troops they had led in the field. At the same time, the empire was threatened by outside forces and, lacking a strong central government, split into 3: the Roman Empire, the Gallic Empire, and the Palmyrene Empire. These 3 were again united under the Emperor Aurelian, and his reforms were further developed by Diocletian in 284, ending the crisis. Diocletian understood the empire had become too vast for one person to rule, and so instituted the Tetrarchy, rule of 4, to divide responsibilities between 4 capable rulers who were to maintain a cooperative, cohesive rule of different regions. To further improve control and administration, in 285 he divided the empire into east and west, by appointing one of his officers, Maximian, to the position of co-emperor. He also decreed that, going forward, each emperor would have to choose his successor as soon as he came to power, to prevent the kind of chaos of the crisis of the 3rd century. This policy, like debasing the currency and the tetrarchy, may have seemed like a good idea in theory, but in practice failed. After Diocletian's death in 311, two of his successors, Constantine and Maxentius, fought each other for control of the empire, plunging it into a civil war, which ended with Constantine's victory at the Milvian Bridge in 312. Constantine, known as Constantine the Great, attributed his success to a vision he had of the new god Jesus Christ, whose sect had been persecuted in Rome and elsewhere for being too disruptive. In 313, he issued the Edict of Milan, mandating religious tolerance in the empire, and extending that to Christians. And in 325, he convened the Council of Nicaea, establishing Jesus Christ as a god and the Son of the one true God, which set the foundation for the Christian Church as we know it today. Constantine the Great improved the empire economically, structurally, culturally, and through his reforms of the military and religious practices. But after his death, his three sons engaged in the same brutal civil war he had fought years before, battling each other for control. Constantine II and Constans were killed in the war, and the last brother, Constantius II, died afterwards, naming Julian as his successor. Julian rejected Christianity and tried to return Rome to pagan practices, and was successful, but all his reforms were repealed after his death by Theodosius I, who championed Christianity, closed the schools and universities, and converted pagan temples to Christian churches. Religion during the Roman Republic was centered on the story of Romulus and Remus and the early kings, but by the time of the empire had expanded to many gods modeled on the Greek pantheon. Zeus became Jupiter, Ares became Mars, Athena became Minerva, and so on. And these gods were understood to care for Rome and take her side against others. The religion of the Romans was therefore sponsored by the state on a quid pro quo basis, this for that. The people honoured the gods, and the gods took care of the people. According to some writers in antiquity as well as the modern era, the rise of Christianity led to the decline and fall of the Western Roman Empire, because the religious rituals, which encouraged cultural unity, were no longer observed once Christianity became widely accepted. The rise of Christianity was blamed as early as the 5th century for Rome's decline, a charge refuted at that time by the Christian theologian Orosius, who claimed Christianity had actually stabilized an empire already in decline. The truth is not that simple, of course. The fall of the Roman Empire can't be attributed to a single cause, however, and it didn't just topple over suddenly. It declined gradually over time due to the size of the empire, political instability, the self-interest of East and West, who worked against instead of with each other, invasions by barbarian tribes, political corruption, mercenary armies, an over-reliance on slave labor, and widespread inflation and unemployment. The Western Empire fell in September 476 when the Emperor Romulus Augustulus was deposed by the Germanic King Odoacer, but the Eastern Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire, continued until 1453 when it fell to the Ottoman Turks. The Byzantine Empire was culturally quite different, as it was more influenced by Greek culture, which is why it's usually seen as a separate entity to the Roman Empire. The legacy of ancient Rome includes many aspects of civilization we take for granted in the modern era, including the structure of most Western legal systems and governments, but also daily life things like fast-drying cement, indoor plumbing and easy access to clean water, construction of sturdy roads and buildings, and the concept of the apartment complex. The calendar used today in the West was first devised by Julius Caesar and reformed by later rulers. Christian rites, rituals, and holy days, including the date for Easter and Christmas, were established by Roman clerics. Locks and keys for doors, newspapers, public toilets, return policies for merchandise, fast food restaurants, cosmetics, as well as aspects of modern-day medicine and warfare, were all either invented or developed by the Romans. Roman innovation, in fact, produced so many of the concepts, items, and practices in use today, it is hard to imagine the modern world without them. What do you think is the most important legacy of the ancient Roman Empire? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos every Tuesday and Friday. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. If you like my sweater, you can find this design and a bunch more in our shop at worldhistory.store, or you can find a link for it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon with another video.